Right, welcome and good morning. I'm just gonna try and have the live stream up and running on my Surface next to me, so I can read the comments a bit more in time when you post them, and I don't have to tab out and read them. Alright, so I don't know, I seem to get a lot of followers off stream. I suppose they're watching like the live stream that's recorded on YouTube, because I guess this is a weird time to live stream. But anyway, I want to say welcome to Max Saren, Wild Grape, Lucas Pereira, Yamakrob, Alex Vilka, Malcao, Jeff Ertef, Lorenzo Gianotti, Brett, Lord Fram and Lord Ugbar. So yeah, those were the subscribers from yesterday and the day before, I think. Let's jump into Blender. So from yesterday I can open up the like the main file. I'm gonna turn down the music a bit. And also I'm gonna try and find a better playlist, or make a playlist with music that's not copyrighted, so I don't get infringement letters. So yeah, these guys were missing yesterday, and it was just a matter of Blender auto-naming the blend file with the @ in the end. So I just went into the file system and removed the @ and it could find the links or the proxies. I kind of finished up on this one off stream this morning. We can jump into that file, the one I started, and I did a AO bake this time. It's not super apparent, but it adds a bit of darkness to all the cracks and crevices. So even though maybe I should like multiply it twice or with itself. Alright, I could probably just... well, can you boost this above 1? It doesn't matter. But yeah, so the ambient occlusion is a bit... it's a bit... yeah, it's not that super dark in the dark part, so maybe I can fix it in Photoshop later. Because once in Unreal, I'm gonna use this as a... I'm gonna use the ambient occlusion texture. So I'm not gonna multiply it into the diffuse or anything. Then you get a little bit more control with it. So I did just some tiny bit of painting and then added some highlights, which you can kind of control with the slider in the mix node, so that's nice, or the screen node. So I'm probably gonna continue painting on this one now, and then we're gonna jump into the main file and get all those big stones, the obelisks, and go back to sculpting. So it's gonna be a bit of texture painting in the beginning. I have some stuff left to do on the trees. They're very basic. I think I just did a value gradient and some minor painting, so I'm probably gonna touch up on them also. Today. But maybe we can try and stick to texture painting for a while and then finish up with sculpting in the end. So it's probably gonna be 2 or 3 hour stream today also. Actually, this thing to just paint it and finish up some of the sculpting went really quickly when you're not streaming. Everything runs smoother. I see some problem here. I'm gonna try and fix it. I'm gonna mute the mic and turn it on when people start to ask questions in the chat and stuff. But otherwise I'm just gonna paint here and touch up stuff. You can see some problem down here also. So this texture is kind of low res, it's just 512 pixels. But I think it's okay for this the style, the non-photorealistic style I'm doing, and also compared to all the other assets, it's kind of okay. I should probably gone with 1K because some of the trees are that, but yeah. So if you ever seen the XRG's painting channel, I'm just gonna blotch out some color and then smudge them out to almost nothing. But just to make a bit of like variation in this, in the general color of this stone block, or what are you gonna call it, like stone table. I kind of want this part to be this dark green, like it's been a bit moldy or something. Maybe it could even be more bright green. probably. Alright. So this brush doesn't really mix that well with other. I think I should have a little bit larger brush size, at least to get this gradient transparency ramp going on. So yeah, this was probably a bit too orange, but kind of wanted some kind of warm color, but yeah. So I'm gonna switch to the light then, and right, I'm just gonna lighten up some of these edges. Why is the effect so low? No? Oh, I have the sun in the monitor. So, yeah, this part is since it's lower on the model, the value gradient make it looks brighter, so it's gonna try and pull it a bit back, and maybe it was a bit too bright compared to all the other stuff, but whoa. Basically more or less like highlight wherever it should be worn, and also these flat surfaces that kind of were more visible when sculpting, and kind of went away when I normal baked it. And now we have to smooth this out a bit. So the stroke is a bit lagging when streaming, but it's okay. But it makes everything a bit harder to paint at the like the normal pace you're used to. And everything is kind of lagging behind like a half a second or something. Okay, so we're on the lighten. I'm gonna switch to one of my other brushes, which is like this detailed one. And yeah, I'm gonna try and paint some of these sculpted features like their highlight, even though if I haven't like painted the color yet. So you can see here I sculpted something, so I just paint some of like fake highlighting or like fake glossy, like on this part. And then I actually did some coloring blotches here, so you can try and find if you see a shape, you can kind of highlight the outer shape. And from a distance it looks like it's, yeah, almost like a glossy finish. Or maybe I did a bit too much low res, I don't know. So here we have some interesting stuff from the Sculpt. We can just So we can try and highlight a bit extra the part where we painted on this on the edges. So they are a bit brighter than the rest of the color. So So here there's no no coloring yet, but these highlights are on a separate texture above it. So even if you haven't finished the coloring, the base color, we can still go in and put in some of these. What's up with the brush? Why is it so laggy? Fuck. So I'm gonna try and remove the pressure sensitivity because it seemed to... Yeah. Okay, no pressure sensitivity. Made it really laggy. And that's my experience sometimes in Blender. If you have like a brush texture that's quite large and then downsample it to just a few pixels, you can get a lag. Laggy brush. And some of these parts, you can try and highlight those, the stuff with sculpture, the dents. And these cracks that we did. So maybe jump into the base color. Since it has a very little variation, but wait a minute, we can actually check the darkness. I haven't painted anything on that one yet. So some of these parts, yeah, we can just darken them. And all these colors are a bit tinted to the greens. So you basically have to, like, the normal map and the shading helps you a bit, but you kind of have to imagine the light where it's coming from. It's coming upwards. So I'm just helping to sell the illusion by darkening this stuff a bit. That's should be like a bit occluded from the sunlight. You should actually try and lighten some of the parts that are like the surface that are perpendicular to the light source also. We can do it now actually. If we change into the light then, and probably gonna go a bit for yellow. Oh yeah, I painted it before it. Yeah, so it was really subtle, but we're just gonna try and brighten the surface that is perpendicular to where like the sun is coming from. Right, where's the base? There. So this is the color we have. We can maybe add some green towards the bottom, like grass and moss has probably been growing on it. Oh, I had it really low. So I'm just gonna go over the entire bottom of it and add the green part, the green tint. that. So I think green, at least, yeah, green is considered a warm color, and as soon as you mix in one of these cold colors, it kind of stands out. Come on, stop lagging. So yeah, I think I'm gonna touch up on some of the trees I did also. Is it maybe better to go to the original file and then... So these stones, actually I was thinking maybe I should have modeled like model a wall and then use some of the stones inside the wall and scatter around. But when I did it, I was thinking like maybe I get a lot of variations when I build the walls of individual stones. So I might touch up on this later and like model and sculpt a wall that goes a bit and then gets destroyed and fallen apart. And then I can use some of these stones to place almost like this into the wall. Like so they just appear a bit and stuff like that. Maybe, or probably I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start here and then, because I wanted an arc here, so I might model the wall and then it goes up to an arc and then scatter some of these stones around and place them inside that arc. And these two guys I'm not super happy with, so they might go away and there will be an arc there instead. But let's paint on this tree. And I really wish this add-on could kind of remember these settings, and so you don't have to fix it for every time you turn on screen caps. So what happened with this tree is I think my textures were... I started with 2K, 512. Oh, maybe that's for one of the canopies. I started with 2Ks and it was way too heavy. And at least when I was streaming, I think it was too heavy for my computer to paint. So I think it's on 1K and 512 pixels for the canopy. So it's going to be a bit pixely, but I think it's okay. And I'm actually going to open up the file because that was the Blender version where I have joined objects. And so I want this one where I have the canopies are separate parts and stuff like that. So we could maybe start with the trunk. And let me just see, well, what kind of... We have the base, normal, value, which has some kind of seams in it, which I've fixed for the... so basically when you go texture paint and either use fill or gradient brush. There's I kind of remember there used to be like a pixel, repeating pixel or bleed, but I can't find it now, so it would be nice if it had some kind of bleed or bleed from the edge pixels, because as you can see here, sometimes can I select it? No? Okay. Sometimes these UV seams are going like straight on the where it was filled, and that's why it's picking up these white pixels, because it's basically these tiny parts. So I'm gonna fix it manually, but it would have been really nice. Alright, all my icons are gone. But it would have been really nice if, isn't it? Yeah, smear. It would have been really nice if we had a setting for gradient and fill to like bleed a couple of pixels outside UV island. So this isn't optimal because I'm actually smearing my gradient, but in worst case I have to just do the gradient over again. I kind of just want these. Okay, there seems to not be a problem here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The edge pixels to smear a bit outside the UV seam or UV island, and especially up here. So this stuff is just tedious work, but I spent a couple of minutes trying to look for that, like bleeding or smear option, but I couldn't find it, so I guess it was, maybe it's just in the baking I remember having those options, but it goes pretty quickly with smear, because if I were to paint it I would have to sample the color all the time, so with smear it's just, you don't have to sample, you have to just paint. So at least it's a bit quicker than like sampling this edge color and paint outside the island. Okay, I think that's no, this side is probably one that's a lot of issues. So did I miss that spot, or maybe it didn't work as well on this model as it did for the table one? It's probably this part. Oh, it seems to become a bit darker, but I get to fix it later. Is there a bleed option? Where is the bleed option on... where did my... yeah. Do you mean a bleed option on the smear? I was hoping it was on like the gradient or the fill. Jason, do you know if you just do a mix here? I'm gonna save all the... So it would be nice if these kind of bleeded out like 4 or 5 pixels. So the... oh, this one's became pretty good. You don't see the seam anymore. Yeah. I kind of also remember it was somewhere here. Stroke, no. Strength. Okay, I'm gonna unpin. Oh. Alright, bleed. 6 pixels. Okay, that's much better because now it's bleeding out over. So yeah, thank Jason. I knew I saw it somewhere, but still sometimes you get these kind of artifacts, but those one you can always just fix with my hard brush over there and make it really small and just sample the color and paint them away. Those tiny pixel that's... Here we have some other ones. Oh. Don't forget to sample. But now you can see that it has actually bled a couple of pixels outside. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a smooth bleed. It's just as long as it's outside the UV island, and it's pretty similar to how it bleeds in when you normal bake, so it's actually perfect. Whoa. Yeah, I want to paint more. I just want to go into material mode. So I basically just want to have a look how I'm... Yeah, oh, this should be multiply. So I'm gonna just tweak the curves of the brush. Oh. So I think last time I was painting this one, we just placed the highlights. We didn't never actually try to smudge them out like this. But let's smudge out all the highlights and then maybe focus some time more on where it should be a bit darker and stuff like that. sometimes. The sampling is kind of lagging behind, so I'm actually sampling out in the dark. And these darker strokes, I think we're just done with the smooth brush on the darken layer, and we kind of need to go over them also, make them a bit thinner and pointier at the end and stuff like that. We should actually also, when we did these strokes, we should have done some of them this yellow and maybe some of them a bit more red. I can try and sample this one and just make it a more warmer red. So I'm gonna sample this. Okay, I kinda know where it is. Let's paint away this one. And get one that's more warm. Okay, well, yeah, let's go with this. No, maybe more red. Yeah, something like that. So this part were a bit too much yellow actually. But I'm gonna keep it like that. I kind of like it when we more have introduced some kind of warm red at some parts. So let's do it for this one. I'm gonna remove this. Whoa. Sisyphs, hard to pronounce your name. Hi there yourself. Sisyphs asks, what project is this for? So this is, I'm just gonna bring it into Unreal. There's like a tiny forest with a clearing, and in the clearing it's gonna be a sword in a stone. So basically it's more, I'm preparing all the assets, making sure they all have like base texture maps and normal maps and stuff like that. So I'm gonna bring it into Unreal later and just play around with it. It's not gonna be a game or anything, it's more just something I want to create, and I might look into later in Unreal to try and make it to add like a virtual reality VR controller, so you can stand in the scene and look around and stuff like that. So it's more practice for me. It's just a practice project. It's not gonna be a game, but it's gonna be. I'm gonna render it with Unreal, so it's gonna be rendered in a game engine. So I think actually we had smoothed these guys. So I can just smooth them a bit more. And this one I wanna remove and add one that's a bit. Maybe we should go for a bit more green this time. Just a tiny bit of green highlight. And one aspect also I was hoping for with this project is later that I can fine-tune the materials in Eevee, because I did one export already, and from 2.8 to Eevee, and no, sorry, from Eevee to Unreal, and the viewport kind of match up, at least in material. So I mean, it looks more like in Unreal than 2.79 is doing. And earlier in a stream, but that was when I streamed on Twitch, I tried to take these objects into 2.8 for texture painting, but it wasn't really ready for that. I had a lot of crashes, but maybe if 2.8 become more stable in the future, I'm gonna try and do some of the texture painting there. What have I done here? Let's try to change it just to a bit more orange and smooth it out way more. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see where the sculpt went before normal map baking, like some of the strokes, so you can try and follow those just to highlight them a bit more. So yeah, if you later on in this stream, probably I don't know. Next week is maybe bad. We are having. I have to prepare some stuff for a Blender user group meeting. But later on, I will start streaming when I'm in Unreal also. So I guess off stream I will prepare the assets, just export them as FBXs, and then I will bring in them in Unreal. And then we can start looking at the materials more in-game and see if everything is okay, or if some of these stuff has to actually be more worked on, or like if this painting effect I'm doing might kind of disappear in game or be less visible and stuff like that. But I won't be doing any character. I will use the Unreal mannequin yeah, because for this project a character wasn't like the scope, because it's so much bigger and takes more time to create actually, and especially if you're gonna rig it and have it running and stuff like that, you have to go through so much stuff in Unreal. So, but that I might try to do that later. I have bought an add-on, AutoRig Pro, which is really nice. Oh, hiya Attila, you're back. Have you ever had to go back from sculpting to modeling? Do you start it all over from the unsculpted model? Yeah, you can actually, it's not that super big of a deal. Okay, if I painted this much, it would be a bit of a hassle to go back. But as you've seen, I always have one file where I have the high-res, the multi-res version. So you can just go back to that one and remove the multi-res and model the stuff you need, and apply a multi-res again, and then go sculpt it one more time. But you should try to avoid that, but it's as long as you have one version which is just the base mesh with the multi-res, you can always remove the multi-res and go back to model some more. Okay, we have some kind of like notches almost, or knots going here, barely visible with the normal map. I'm gonna try and highlight them some, and then just blend it out a bit. Today I also lowered the bitrate from 800 to 700, and it seems like it's been a bit better. I have a couple of drop frames, but it's around 2%, and the stream health is green, so maybe this is the best setting I found so far for my internet and everything. And I kind of noticed like that the stream itself kind of looked blocky and stuff when I streamed it, but when I looked at the saved recording on YouTube later, it looked actually much better. So, or not much better, but a bit better. Oh, what have I done here? So Also, one of the things I wanted to try with this project is alright, Siv says the quality is okay, that's good. I always use Wacom. I've been using it for years, so but I have a mouse, and but usually when I work I use the Wacom pen, even for the operating system stuff. You just get used to it. So okay, here I have a lot of yellow colors. I'm gonna remove those yellow highlights, and we're gonna add one more warm. Maybe that was too red, wasn't it? Anyway, let's smudge it out. Yeah, one of the other aspects with this project was also to try and check out Blender 2.8 to make this hand-painted style, but try to make the materials PBR, following a PBR structure. So I'm gonna have roughness textures and metallic textures and stuff like that. But I'm probably gonna try and paint them in 2.8. Otherwise I can paint them in 2.79 and just estimate how they're gonna look. I will try and avoid to do offline rendering, because I want everything for this one to be real time. So I could do roughness painting in 2.79 and render with cycles, but I will try and avoid that actually, and rather go with 2.8 and EV and check how I can paint them in 2.79 and then just open 2.8 to look how they look in the viewport. We have some small parts left to do. I'm not gonna change the color now, I'm just gonna smudge them out. I guess also if you use photo reference, which I haven't done, but if you use it and try to do this hand painted stuff above the photo reference, I think you're gonna get close to the style that you're using in the Counter-Strike game engine, because or Counter-Strike Go it's called, Global Offensive or something. But if you look closely at those textures, it kind of looks like photo reference, which has been painted over. So it has a bit of this NPR look, but still highly detailed. Maybe it's also the color palette they use. It's kind of what's it called? Pastel. So it's really like flat colors and stuff like that. Okay, so I've actually painted. I'm just gonna go, whoa, and fix some of these like strokes I've been doing here earlier. Whoa, no, not that rod. So the player is probably gonna see the tree from like this angle and from this distance, so sometimes you're painting way too up close to like too detailed in the beginning. It's maybe better to zoom out sometimes then. Right, I'm just gonna save, and we're gonna look at these guys because I don't think I've done almost anything on them. Do they? Okay, I have a value gradient, but it's barely visible. But I'm gonna try and paint more on these like canopies. Try to get a leaf pattern or something going. I'm just gonna try to find some music to play in the background, which is copyright free. Yeah. And so in some future stream, I don't know when, I'm gonna try and use that Substance Painter 30-day trial version. So then I'm gonna do all this like sculpting and stuff in Blender, bake normal maps and ambient occlusions, but I'm gonna do the rest of the painting with Substance Painter and try to like pick up that skill and see if it's something I want to buy. But like optimal would be to if you could stay in Blender as long as possible and not need to jump between apps. But yeah, it seems like Substance Painter is unbeatable at painting. And I've also finally seen some stylized work done with it, so that's good. I'm just gonna fix some of these. Okay. So let's start with adding some fake sun highlights to these parts. Should actually have sampled that color. Because let's blotch out all of them so they basically have the same color in the beginning, and then I will go over and smudge them, because for smudging I need to I'm sampling and painting new strokes and sampling again and stuff like that with alpha to get the smudging, so I should try and put all these highlights in firstly. Maybe we could... oh, maybe it's too late now. So give some of them like a blue sky and some... I'm gonna do it, even if it might be too late. Or, yeah, I could just paint over some of these actually. Hello, Marcus. I tweeted Craig yesterday. I think he replied. I have to check his reply. Also, I had one like mention this morning, but I haven't checked Twitter yet. Oh crap, that was... So this fading didn't really work. Just removing some of the yellow because I wanted this sky blue highlight here. And this one has like sun yellow. Oh, I forgot these guys. A couple of them, okay, wait. So I think we should... Where? No. We can add just a tiny bit of... that wasn't a tiny bit, but we can add... some lighting at the top of them also. Actually the value gradient should have given that effect, but it was kinda... Alright, this is kinda high up on the model also, that's why I put it down a bit. Okay, maybe not mixing the blue was a good idea. It looks... Well... Should have probably stuck to yellow. I think this is too bright, but I will fix it now. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the blue ones because they didn't really work. I think the idea of having the highlights like in a sky color was kinda weird. I'm gonna remove this one also and probably try with a warmer tone like orange or something. Who was that? Was it a new follower maybe? I love pixels. Hello, and thanks for the follow. Or subscription on YouTube probably. Alright, so yeah, orange worked way better than blue. But yeah, I'm gonna touch up, put the fake highlights on these, the ones that are missing, or should I maybe leave them? I think it was better when there was a bit of variation. Okay, so in the base texture, I'm gonna try and do some kind of leaf pattern or something, I think. Oh wait, maybe I should. Like I did with the fir trees. I took and I took and made a gradient, and that could be nice. So I'm just gonna pick the same color, and then I'm gonna offset this to maybe a bit yellow. Oh, yeah. And maybe not that much. I want this green to be like the... That didn't... Starting to look like a mushroom or something, but it has done it all the time, so... Just wondering, Attila, just wondering, what are you baking the light colors into the material? Shouldn't the relighting create that effect? Yeah, the relighting should create that effect, but if you go for stylized like this, you kind of have to paint in the... you have to paint in some of the highlights and the darker parts, like the fake shadowing here. Otherwise, yeah, it's just to sell the lighting a bit more. But in Unreal, we're gonna probably have a lot of light sources to do some of the lighting also. But I just think most of the people that paints the highlights, as I've seen, they don't really sculpt in the beginning, or they do like low poly modeling from the start. So, but since I have a normal map, I get a lot of stuff for free. I mean, if I turn off the normal map for this one, you can see how flat it looks, and it would be kind of hard to paint in all the highlights and darken stuff because you don't really see what is what. But as soon as you enable the normal map, you can start to like see the lighting effect in the viewport, and it's gonna be like that in game, even a bit more also, I think. But yeah, I think I'm done with painting the highlights for this one. I'm just gonna try and paint, figure out some kind of leaf pattern. Yeah, this is the brush, and I am on the base. So one idea I have is, oh no, the gradients is too subtle. Otherwise you can like sample in the gradient and paint a bit. So what I'm doing is, I'm just sampling the base color and taking a bit darker. I could actually do this in the darken texture. These places where I have kind of sculpted. Sculpted some kind of leaf representation. Leaves representation. So that's one thing I think that could be improved on in Blender, is this like color selector. It would be nice if it was bigger. You can only make it bigger on this, so it's kind of hard to go in values up and down. But easy to go in color. So that would be nice if we could have a somehow make the color picker a bit bigger, because sometimes when you jump like this you actually get a large difference. Alright, yeah. Well. Okay, I think I'm done with this tree for today. I'm not getting any good ideas, but at least I touched up on this trunk. I guess some of these we can fix them actually now. I just need to jump into the right texture. I think it's the darker ones. Yeah, these large strokes. We're gonna smooth them out a bit. They were placed kind of good, but a bit too large and too symmetrical. Do you guys use Blender for texture painting, or is it Photoshop or Substance? It feels like texture painting in Blender has potential, but it's a bit too laggy for me when you start adding texture upon texture in the material. Otherwise it's kind of nice. And I guess this is like the material view is a bit that's the one that's a bit too heavy to run, I think, and probably gonna be better in 2.8. Could actually have been a bit darker, those strokes. Size if really textured. Size if also asked how many maps did you create for a tree model? It's I think 5. Base, value, bright and dark and normal. Yeah, I should actually have one more, which is ambient occlusion, which I made for the table. Yeah, you could do all the brighten and darken stuff in the base texture, but I kind of like to have one base color which I can change and stuff like that. Play around with and see if I find something that works better. Usual Blender rarely Photoshop, it depends on the task, says Attila. In most cases Blender internal painter is satisfactory. Yeah, I think also it could be a bit quicker than I would be happy, but sometimes the brush engine is fast, sometimes it feels slow. And what I would like to find is actually like a set of brushes that is as good as the ones for sculpting. I tried to make my own with some texture, but I'm not super happy with them, so I will try and see if I can find some other ones also. But I think like the main thing that could happen for Blender painting is that it will become something like if you have seen the paint tool for Armory, the game engine that's kind of heavily integrated in Blender, is that if it could be like fully GPU based, because then probably we're gonna get rid of these lags when you're painting. Hopefully, I don't know. I think it's multi-threaded, but I don't think that's enough. I think it needs to be GPU based. So yeah, okay, I'm not adding any stuff, I'm just on this model anymore. So I'm gonna, oh okay, didn't I? No, I opened this by itself, yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna jump back and see what else I can paint on. Oh yeah, these birches, I think. Because this first fir tree has been kind of painted. So if these guys turn to be painted. Oh wait. So yeah, these are the version where the canopy is in separate objects. What is this? So like this is not a satisfactory performance for me. I think, well, I think that needs to be addressed. Jason says, I rendered fur in Blender to use as a brush, but I haven't gotten that right. Found it was easy to Photoshop with some fur brushes and match patches like that. What I really want for Blender painting is brush dynamics like Photoshop or GIMP. Yeah. That would be nice. And if you could add brush dynamics, like that's like which way you're holding the Wacom pen, isn't it? So you can like get directions and stuff like that. But also, yeah, all this like step settings. But if you could get something that's like interchangeable, that would be super nice. But I guess that's a totally rewrite of the brush engine. I would just be happy with a bit performance boost. Otherwise I kind of have to start looking at Substance or something. But it's kind of great that the stuff we have is kind of good that it's there, that you can paint in the 3D viewport and everything. It's just that like the edge or like the polish of the solution isn't there quite yet. Some of this stuff goes actually quicker if you yeah, lighten, yeah, where is it? Like in 2D view it goes, oh come on. At least the brush engine runs way faster, but kind of hard to see how it actually looks on the model. Unless I have them open like this, maybe. But all the seams now are... Okay, I'm gonna try and actually introduce a bit of color into this one again. Was that totally crazy or no? Maybe not. Jason says, yeah, we do need more GPU-based stuff. Autodesk stuff still uses CPU, I heard. Yeah, the stuff I've seen regarding like 3D painting and stuff, check out that Armory video where he paints on a 4K texture, and it's GPU based, and there's like no lag at all for the brush strokes. I mean, for GPU, I think you have to kind of offload all the textures to the GPU, like all the textures for the brushes and stuff. So that could be an issue if you have tons and tons of brushes. But to paint it would be much quicker. Oh, that looks weird, but anyway. Where's my base color? Oh, I have no base on this one, I think. Or? Yeah. Why didn't I see it? It's black. Oh, okay. That can't be true. Well. I think we're gonna do the same thing here. I would like to have a gradient on it. Let's just sample this color. Oh, here I have the one that's more blue, so this is not gonna be blue. We're gonna select another, maybe some warm color. Maybe some even more to the orange, like a bit more autumn. Or actually it should go probably the other way around. Okay, let's try that. So the orange leaves are in the outer part. Okay, so that is probably the value gradient that is a bit too much. No. Okay, let's go with that. It kind of look a bit desaturated, but I can go back and try and fix the colors later for the base. it's actually kind of super laggy. I want to kind of add some like highlights for leaves, but I really don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna highlight some of the stuff I did here with during sculpting. So how can you highlight leaf? Maybe like draw leaves. But I think those stuff I need to do with the base color, or actually maybe add another layer where I just like kind of draw leaf shapes all over this one. It would be nice to have some kind of leaf pattern, but I'm not really happy with the base color, so I'm probably gonna do it on a texture with the alpha, and it's gonna be above the base color, so I can still fix the base colors. Oh. So it's barely visible, this, but it do give an effect. Oh. The orange became kind of brown. Maybe it's probably how it mixed from green to orange. Okay, that was a bit more subtle, so I think I'm gonna go with that color. What do we have here? Non-color data. Where do I get the seam right through this? Okay, maybe it's unavoidable from this angle. Okay, the seam might be affecting the normal map probably. Shouldn't, but yeah. It was set on non-color data, so it should be okay. I probably... These highlights are too... a bit too bright, but... I can just turn them down a bit by painting over them. And so this base color is the one we should probably try and do a gradient towards blue. So for the bright, then I'm just gonna pretty quickly draw in this well, make highlights, because I still haven't figured out any leaf pattern to draw. What has happened there? And I think it's I'm gonna move out from texture painting and go into Sculpt again, and sculpt the I think I have 3 of those large stones to do. Save all images. Oh, what is this? Okay, I'm just gonna fix this normal map issue before I leave this. Come on, texture paint. Whoa, no, I made it worse. should actually done it off stream, but as I saw it, I fixed it. Alright, just gonna once more save all image, save the file. This guy we need, I'm gonna do it off stream. I'm probably gonna paint the trunk a bit more like this one with a bit of more colors and stuff like that. No, I can actually use the, go back to, okay, it's gone. So let's jump into the main scene, so I'm gonna sculpt these guys, these three guys. Didn't I sculpt this yesterday? I think so. I think I have a high-res poly of him, high-res version, probably here. Yep. I think if I apply the base, I can go down a couple of levels without the artifacts. So yeah. And I think in this morning I started at least putting multi-res on one of these guys. Yeah. So this is the one I'm gonna sculpt. And for some reason unknown, like doing sculpt strokes goes super smooth compared to like texture painting strokes. They can lag, but I don't. Sculpt seems way more optimized than worked on. Right, spring key is on place and everything. I'm gonna take a short 10-minute break, and after the break we're gonna sculpt these two last obelisk stones. So this is the what I did before in this morning was actually just add more geometry, and I did some edge creases on some of these edges, and then there's a multi-res. I'm gonna go one more level, like 4 or 5. We can have 4 in preview. Oh no, it went way worse when I took apply base. But anyway, 10-minute break and then sculpting. So I'm gonna close the mic. Be right. Right, I am back. Yeah, regarding like texture painting in Blender, we are so close to having something really good, actually, that we can paint in the 3D viewport on the model is amazing. But yeah, the performance and layers and like selection and maybe layers like in Substance where you can have where you can paint you can paint materials, and you can, I guess it's like material masks, so you can paint like metallic, and the other stuff could be actually done in Blender also. I remember seeing one video in Substance Painter where they showed how it rained on the model, and where it rained it kind of did this like grunge texture and peeled away the paint into the metal, and it was like dripping from the model and making traces. Stuff like that could probably be done in Blender with particle systems, and setting up the particle system as a brush and the model as a canvas and stuff like that. So we're nearly there. It's just a matter of making everything GPU based, so it's fast, and probably it's gonna be like an add-on. I don't think it's gonna be so supported by default, but that's something I would like to look into someday, making those kind of painting tools with particle system as brushes and the stuff you're working on as canvas, which you can just turn on quickly and have like wind and rain and have it eat away at the edges and stuff. But enough with painting. Yeah, some particle painting. I remember when I saw that video, I was like, this is amazing, and it could probably be done with in Blender with the is it called dynamic paint? Yeah, dynamic paint with particles. That's where you set the particle system as a brush and object as a canvas. So one of these days when I have time, I'm gonna look into it. I haven't coded that much Python, and to be fair, I actually hate Python coding. I can't stand it. It's not only the thing with the brackets, it's everything with Python. So the only thing I'm gonna code now is like C++ with open frameworks, and I'm probably gonna code some like tools for myself, which I can share later on if they become any good. It's more about making glitch art stuff. Are there tutorials of people using dynamic paint in Blender? Asked Jason. I don't think they're tutorials. I remember when I think it was some kind of a Finnish guy who created it as a Google Summer of Code way back ago. Because I remember watching his video, Mika something. So I don't think there were tutorials, but he showed all the effects and stuff like that, and you kind of learn from it. Yeah, Python is easy, but yeah, I don't know. I tried to do some stuff. I did one add-on where you get where you bake the sound and get it creates a lot of empties, and each empty represent like a kilohertz range. But you can do that with animation nodes nowadays, so I'm probably gonna delete that add-on. But there are stuff you could do with Python which is nice. I'm gonna start maybe look into it, even though I hate it, but some of the stuff would be really nice to have like streamlined regarding workflow. But that painting system would be probably nice. I'm kind of impressed with HardOps and Retopo tools, because they do so much besides Python. I think they're using the OpenGL draw code to draw their own interface and stuff like that, which looks really cool. If you haven't seen it, I can just add something here. So I was thinking about this. You see this, this is probably like drawn with OpenGL. Oh wow. So yeah, I have in my unit setting, because I'm working towards Unreal, I've set it to centimeters. So all these like bevels and stuff is really tiny, because it's in centimeter and not Blender units or meters. But yeah, all this stuff that's drawn. I think Box Cutter also has some of these cool interface drawn code. So I'm impressed the amount of stuff you can do with Python in Blender. Okay, I'm gonna stop ramble about painting. It's Sculpt time again, and we're gonna basically do the same thing we have done before. My menu is a bit laggy, so I'm gonna use this one again, the toolbar, because somehow it can load the brushes really quickly. I'm just gonna add some rocks here. These are the rocks that's gonna be partly underground, but kind of still need them in place. And use another brush also. So maybe I should have done one of these obelisks and then duplicated the high poly version, so I don't have to redo this. But sometimes it's good to redo this repetitive stuff, because suddenly you do something by mistake and learn something new. So yeah. Sizif, oh, that's a cool add-on. Is it paid or free? Do you mean these brushes? These brushes are free. They're in the... If you click more on the below the video, in the, not the comments, I forgot what it's, in the, yeah, in the text thingy below, you can find a link to Blend Swap where you can get them for free. And these brushes, and there's also on Blend Swap there's a link to the original author's Gumroad, where you don't have to pay him anything. I did give him a couple of dollars, I think $5 or something, because I really like these brushes. They are amazing. So I'm just gonna go and make these stones a bit unique by destroying them with the flatten brush. So I'm not gonna pay that amount of detail. I'm just messing them up so they don't look super similar. I should probably not do too many brush strokes, because then they kind of turn into clay or look like they're made of clay. So let's go over this model and just flatten some of these edges, and then do basically what we did yesterday, add cracks and chisel out parts and stuff like that. Why won't this edge? Yeah, no. So some of these edges I marked, I creased marked before. I guess they are kind of battling the Sculpt, but it doesn't matter actually on this high res. You got later I'm gonna use the decimate modifier, which is gonna regenerate the mesh. So you can sculpt this as much as you want and to... Whoa, yeah. Before I do too much detail, I'm gonna use the grab brush and get just break up this the base mesh, because it's kinda perfect lines and stuff. I want a bit of variations, not that much, but maybe like so. So we don't have this like super straight lines. We can do the same with the ground, just lift it up in some places, so it's not so flat. Oh yeah, kind of destroyed it anyway. And inflate brush is also nice, just to add a bit of variation. Whoop. Yeah, okay, no more. Back to flatten brush. No, I did not create these brushes. His handle is orb. You can look him up on the ArtStation. Orb like in a sphere, or orb. And I think his rename is Michael Vicente, if I remember it correctly. So he's a... I think he was is an environment artist at Blizzard. So you get all this like very stylized look on the brushes. And yeah, I think he made them free because he saw a lot of people were using his the one for the cracks, which is really nice. So there's a couple of brushes there you can get for free, which I love. And if you really like them, please consider to donate some on his Gumroad. But I think the guy who converted them to Blender brushes, I mean, basically just use the alpha. If this one doesn't have one, but if I check on this one, it should have what? Yeah, now it's loaded. So you see, it has a texture, and then he fixed all the settings to, because they are originally for ZBrush, and his name is ST Cop. Stefan Koppel or something, I think. I have a video about these brushes, and he commented on them. So thanks to him, we got them for Blender on BlendSwap without doing much of work ourselves. Now, if I only could find or create myself, but something like this but for texture painting, like really good smart brushes for stylized work, that would be amazing. And also I need to probably get thing for my microphone, so that sound doesn't explode through. So yeah, let's add some of these cracks or these chisels. And one thing I changed from the default setting is, I think it was on view plane, but if you have it on view plane, they can become really stretched, like this. You see, this part is way too big. So I don't think I mentioned it in the video, but you should change it to area plane, because then it's more projected on the area and not the viewport itself. So you can place them in like really weird angles without them getting super stretched. So I'm gonna add some of these, not too many, but some of them. And sometimes it doesn't want to add, but that one might have been too big, but I don't really care at this moment. Alright, so now to another favorite, the one with the cracks. We're gonna start drawing some cracks. And when I looked at my table, I was actually noticing the one that I did like kind of big like this, were the one that looked best. So I'm gonna start like doing the big overall cracks and then go in like this and start doing the details. And probably make them fade away like that. And you can kind of just smooth out this and make tiny cracks. Oh no, that one didn't look, but that one kind of looked okay. So you don't have to be super precise, just get the general idea in there. Maybe some of them like branch out like that and just disappear. And I kind of want this one to separate this entire part, so when I later do the base painting, I can make this a bit different in color, so it looks like maybe it has been chiseled into place. So this part that just sticks out, it's okay. So this one can kind of disappear into nothing, and you could probably make, wait, yeah, one big crack going down like that. And then like tiny chisels away. Not too many, because if you do too many, it's become kind of repetitive. But to round out these corners and make a bit larger gap is always good. And then just smooth a bit some of the artifacts. And I'm not really done with them, but I can start pinching some of them. So this brush was also included, a pinch. I think there's one already in Blender if you want to use that one instead. So now we get the depth of the original brush stroke, but we can pinch kind of this stuff to make it look like more like cracks in a heavy stone. It shouldn't be that super wide, but smooth a bit and maybe pinch this up. Take almost 2 minutes for chat to reach your screen. Yeah, I notice it when the stream goes on for a couple of hours. I think I'm dropping frames or something. So I'm up to 5% dropped frames. That probably is the reason why it's lagging behind. And also, the chat is from a service called Streamlabs. So I noticed the longer it goes, the higher risk is that it's lagging or entirely losing connection to that service. So I don't know how to solve that one. And this is actually the rock brush, but I'm using it with control to make it inverted. And then we can just add stuff like this, so it looks like pieces has fallen off. Could actually try and match it with that one, the crack. So let's just go. Once you have the brush, it goes pretty fast if you use it. Not too much, but place it out where you want, and then we can use this one a bit with a bit more strength, but do the same thing. Just add some of these shipped out pieces. So like a big rock usually have those. And later on we go with the smooth brush and with the flatten brush and like make them a bit more unique. So it's harder to see that they are from the same. I didn't like that. That they are from the same brush. So we can do it now. Let's go to the flatten one and go in and work them over a tiny bit. And like here, just smooth some of the sides. Can smooth a bit there. Oh no, I don't know if that was... yeah. You kind of don't want to smooth too much, because then it disappears. Then it almost disappears when you normal bake, so try to keep some hard edges. And so we only made one corner. Maybe we should make more cracks. Whoa. If we are a bit zoomed out, we get like a better overview. So we don't go to like too small details. And it's easier to get the cover of the effect, how much it should cover of the model. If you're too zoomed in, you just work on a small piece, and then it might look weird later on when you start adding this more overall. There's also another brush which is really nice, the rock texture. Rock noise. But it takes a time to load it in, but I should probably use it. I can use it on the ground for now, but on this one I'm gonna use it once I placed all the cracks, so I can easily see where I should probably. Some surfaces are gonna be more flat and smooth, and some of the pieces is gonna be like this, a little bit more detailed. But some of these places are pretty worked on, so we can start adding. This one I want to have flat because I did that indentation. So maybe this part can be a bit more rock detailed texture. Right. Oh, I should change brush over there, but I have my favorites in a menu. But it's lagging now, but usually it works fine. So maybe we can make one crack appear from this. Whoa, we got a weird seam, I think, there. Maybe I can smooth it kind of away. So we can have one crack coming from there and kind of fade into nothing. Later when we pinch it, it's gonna look a bit better. But this one can kind of go down here. So we got a bit of stretching here, and that's because of the base mesh is probably not. The faces are not probably square enough. They're probably a bit stretched, so maybe I shouldn't put more detail there. But I kind of. So let's pinch all the stuff we painted now, so we know that when we add stuff later we can pinch them. So this should be pinched pretty much. Okay, this corner is pretty much worked over. Should probably start trying making something over here. I'm not super happy how that turned out, but this is like the back face of the rock, so so this rock texture surface brush just adds a bit of grime. Yeah, thanks, Yusuf. It's kind of start to appear. I mean, I think I was a bit too zoomed in here. This part doesn't really have any ID, but I'm happy with this part. That one looks good. So I'm just gonna pinch this up and maybe start looking at the overall picture, where I should work and add stuff. Oh. Well, I think I already pinched those. So we can add a bit of detail with this texture. Even if we're gonna work it over, at least it's there. No, okay. This I want this to keep to stay smooth. And I think we have to remove this. We have to smooth this out so it looks like it. Whoa. That it has been chiseled after. This line goes continues straight through it, so kind of want to remove that somehow. Can I smooth it away? Okay. I think we have to try and pinch it together, this entire section, a bit. Maybe if we yeah. Let's add like one last crack on this model on the top, so we kind of have cover the height of it, and then we start doing the next one, and then I have all the ones I need. Then I can bake the ambient occlusion and normal map off stream, because yeah, you who have watched before knows that normal baking kind of kills the stream. So one last crack here. I'm gonna try and be zoomed out, so, and it should probably go on this side somehow. Could start up there. So it would be cool if it could kind of chisel out one of the corners, but maybe that's enough. It's kind of hard to do it the way I have drawn the like guidelines, or what you want to call it. I don't like this one. Well. I should have started actually more wide and then go, yeah. Well. Just add a bit of grime and start pinching. Maybe we can fix it with pinching. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was maybe too detailed compared to other ones, but well, yeah. Sissit says, love you with about the animations node. Any plans for episode 2? I think so. I just need to figure out an effect I want to do. Then I'll probably make episode 2, and also the time. I would like to use it for something I need, and not just to test it out. But I kind of love the animation nodes. So probably gonna do a second video about it. And also that add-on is really impressive. Super fast with Cyton. Yep. So yeah, I'm probably gonna look into animation nodes. Probably gonna look into doing something more like motion graphic thingy. I watched that tutorial on Blender Cloud and kind of got inspired to try to do something. But I don't know. I have to start making a plan or a schedule, because there's a couple of people who requested doing one of these kind of assets from the beginning to the end. Like do the base sculpting, then high poly sculpt, and then decimate or retopology, and setting up the material and bake the maps and into Unity and Unreal. So I might do one of those videos after this one, or after this. So I'm gonna get in the last one. And actually this is kinda boring process because it's so similar to the other one. I'm just gonna do the base shape. I'm not gonna extrude, I'm gonna inset the face. Why is it scaling towards some weird point? So I just need to add a bit more geometry so the face are a bit more square shaped. Maybe even one more cut. Oh. So you don't have to be like super precise when you do this. This is just the high poly base mesh. So whoa. So I'm just gonna prepare it for sculpting. And when I added the decimator, I have I'm adding the wires, but I don't want to see them in multi-res. So yeah, this one is pretty much done for our ready for sculpting. But I'm not gonna sculpt this one since I already did one. I can do it off stream. I suppose you can export animations created in animation node to Unreal. I think so. The only I'm guessing it's gonna bake keyframes on every single frame. That's what's happened to Unity, not with animations node, just using some of the those interpolations like bounce and stuff like that. I try to get it into Unity, so what this does is like keyframe every single frame, so it's not super optimized, but it would probably not be an issue. Actually, that's a good suggestion, Sysifs. I should try and do something with animations node and get it into Unreal. The one thing that's really smart with animations node is that you are creating instances of one object, so it's not really compute heavy for to draw it in the viewport. So that's probably something that's going to be made up of a lot of objects, but if you could get it into Unreal and somehow use just instances of the original object, then it could become really powerful and really fast also. So I should check it up. I should probably try and do a schedule of stuff to do experiments with. I could do stuff like that live stream. It's gonna probably be a lot of like testing and stuff, but that could be fun. So we're into the third hour. I need to redo the sword. I did it once, but I wasn't really happy with it. So most of the trees are pretty much done now. I don't want to spend more time with them. So, and these guys, I have one left to do high poly, and then I'm gonna do all them like this to a decimated version with normal maps and stuff. This one doesn't have a normal map. But yeah, I should probably do the arc thing and the wall tomorrow, because I kind of want to model the wall a bit and use these stones just as I explained in the beginning of the stream. I can scatter the stones and also like place them into the wall like that, so you can have them like sticking out and stuff like this. So I should model a bit of the wall, and then it's get destroyed and there's stones around it, and I'm probably gonna remove these guys. I can remove them now. I think I have a copy of them, of that object on my Greeble layer. So instead I'm gonna have some kind of arc, I think. That's gonna be partially modeled and sculpt, and then I'm gonna use some of the stones to do some of the details. So yeah, I think I'm gonna close this stream for today. Take a break and then continue work, and then it's dinner time. But yeah, it was nice having you here, Sysif and Jason always, and Attila if you're still in the chat or watching. I'm gonna start streaming tomorrow at the same time, around 12 Central European time. And then we're gonna model some stuff from scratch. And off stream I'm gonna do all the stuff that kills the stream, like baking the normal maps. And you guys saw me sculpt one of these today, so I'm gonna sculpt the second one pretty much the same. And this table is pretty much done. I might do some painting on it, I don't know. But yeah. So I'm gonna end the stream now. Have a nice evening, you guys. Have a great dinner and stuff like that. And I'm gonna try and write down a schedule and IDs. So animations node episode 2 would be fun, and then animations node to Unreal. Explore if we can get it exported in some smart way. With instances would be amazing, and yeah. But probably it's gonna make several different objects and keyframe every frame and stuff like that. So see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Probably gonna stream around 3 or 4 hours. So yeah, take care. Good night, everybody, or good evening.